Okay, let's start it again. Sorry about that. And finally, practicum. So you will be taking practicum courses, which means that you'll be at your agency, at your internship, hands-on with your supervisor at the agency, learning the social work skills at the site. There will also be practicum seminars where you'll be meeting regularly with your group, your cohort, and the seminar instructor who will be a faculty member from our department, so that you can reflect on your experiences in practicum and develop, continuously develop your skills as a social worker. So this is the curriculum map, and now I wanted to share the course plan and what it would look like for a student in each of these program options. So please note that this course plan may change when you actually start the program, but this would be a good guide for you to take a look and consider what each semester would look like for a regular standing student. And if you click on this regular standing link, it's hyperlinked, and it will show you a bigger version of this document. And I only have on this screen the part-time option. If you go to this link, you will also see a full-time course plan for regular standing students. So it would be about 7 to 8 credits the first year when you are only as a regular standing student taking coursework. Your second year is when you will start practicum. So I don't know if this is big enough, but here 560 would be your first semester of practicum in fall of 2026, your second year. 561, oops, trying to highlight this one here, would be your second semester of practicum the following semester, and you'll be completing approximately 200 hours each semester. And your last year with us, you'll be completing your final year of practicum, the advanced level practicum right here, and 661 the following semester. So please take a look if you're considering, if you're a regular standing student and considering the part-time option here. If you're considering the full-time option, please click on the hyperlink to review the full-time course plan. The next course plan is for our advanced standing candidates. So students who enter the advanced standing MSW program part-time in fall of 2025 will be looking at 5 semesters across 2 years, and this would be the course plan over the 2 years. So the first year, you'll be taking courses only your coursework. The second year is when you will be in practicum, advanced practicum right here, and the second semester of advanced practicum. Okay, so let's now move on to admission requirements. I have linked the requirements, the full requirements for application here. So please take a look at our website and go through the requirements, the full list of requirements. No GRE is required. For our regular standing students, we want to make sure that the minimum GPA is met and that the student, the candidate applicant, has demonstrated their dedication and passion for the social work profession. So we want to make sure that in their application statement, the National Association of Social Workers, NASW, Code of Ethics has been reviewed and been reflected upon their desire to become a social worker. So please review the full requirements for our application here on our website. If you do not meet the GPA minimum of 3.0, we do ask additional materials for those students who would like to apply. So if your GPA is 2.7 or higher, but not 3.0, please look at the additional requirements that we request you to submit. Okay, for our advanced standing students, you are eligible for advanced standing if you have a BSW degree from a CSWE accredited institution and graduated within the last 8 years. Your GPA must be a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale at a minimum, and we will also be requesting an application statement from you. Okay, so if you decide to apply, what are the next steps? So please review the full application admission requirements, and you wanted to start the application. The deadline is May 1st. The early deadline is May 1st. So this early deadline is highly encouraged for all of you, because May 1st is the deadline for students to become eligible for scholarships, grants, or research assistantships. We really want you to have the opportunity to be considered for these financial and funding options. So please apply early. Also, we do have a rolling admissions process. So earlier admissions are more helpful to guarantee a spot. I would like to share that we would be starting reviewing applications in February. So I'm not asking you to apply right now, right after we end this call, but sometime early next year would be a good time to start working on the application. It takes time for your letter writers, your faculty members, or other professional contact persons who may be willing to write a letter, may need some time to actually submit those letters on your behalf. And I've noticed that those letters do take time to come in. So only complete applications will be considered and reviewed. And starting February 1st, we will be reviewing applications, the complete applications in the order it was received. And the website to submit your application is the UM-Flint Graduate Programs Admissions website that is linked on this slide right here. And we'll be making these slides available to you. So sometime this week, Erin Storm in the graduate office will be sending all individuals who are registered for this webinar a copy of these PPT PowerPoint slides. Okay, we are nearing the home stretch. Estimated tuition. So please note that tuition rates may increase every year. The regents review and approve it every summer. So what I share right now on the screen is the current rate. It may increase a little bit, approximately by 3%. is what we've been seeing over the years, but I don't know for sure. That's beyond my control. In-state tuition for students who are in Michigan is currently approximately $770 per credit. And what you see per credit hour in the second column that says per term, 8 credit hours, it's exactly 8 times per credit hour. The rate does not differ. We charge by credit hour, not by student status. So the reason I share it this way is because it's how the UM-Flint Finance Office shares it. But if you decide to take 3 credit hours, which is not recommended, but for some reason that's what you have to do, then you multiply 771.75 times 3, and that is going to be the rate that's not the rate, the tuition that's charged to you. So you just take this per credit hour rate and multiply it by the credit hours that you're registered for that term. For out-of-state tuition, our out-of-state tuition is $1,156, and it's exactly the same calculation. You multiply it by 8, then you get the per term 8 credit hour tuition. But like I just said, we charge it by the credit hours. So if you're taking 10 credit hours as an out-of-state tuition, out-of-state student, you would multiply this figure by 10, and that's your tuition that you owe to the university. Okay, mandatory fees. There will be for every term a registration fee of $291, and this covers student services such as technology, student engagement activities, and so on and so forth. Other fees are that we assess is the internship fee. This would be only for those semesters when you are in internship in practicum, and this would be $100 per term. So for the semesters that you're not in internship, you will not be charged this fee. Okay, last but not least, there are multiple scholarships and financial aid and research assistantship ships available for master's students here at the UM-Flint campus. So we would encourage you to look at this website closely to see what you may be eligible for and consider and to apply, because we really want you to take advantage of what's available and out there. And make sure that you apply before May 1st, because these financial aid and scholarship opportunities are available for students who have their applications completed and submitted before May 1st. Okay, so I did a lot of talking. So I would like to turn it over to you, our students, to see what information would be helpful, what additional information would be helpful, or if there are any additional information clarifying questions that you have, and so that we can work most efficiently. I asked my colleagues to monitor the chat. Were there any questions in the chat that we were not able to respond to yet?
I think we were able to respond to many of them. So if you have a question, many of the answers, review the chat because many of the answers are there. But Dr. Ma, I wondered if you might be able to speak a little bit more, because we got a number of questions for people who don't have a bachelor's degree in social work, but they may have taken some social work courses,
Mhm.
or they might have something of experience in that way. Could you speak to that a little bit and talk about what that might look like for those students?
That's a great question. Thank you. Um, the MSW program allows students to transfer in 6 credits if it meets the curricular requirements of the MSW program. So if you took a course on research, for example, and you believe that it may be very similar to what the course that we offer here in the MSW program, we would be able to look at the course information, so your syllabus, your grade, your transcript, and if it meets the requirements for our program, you will be eligible to transfer that over. So that's transferring credits over. If there are courses that cover the same content, but it does not fully meet the MSW curricular requirements. Then, so what I just mentioned about transfer credits is for master's level coursework that you completed somewhere else. It could be a social work course, could be a psychology course, it could be a sociology course, and you've completed courses at Saginaw Valley or MSU or another institution at their graduate program, and would like us to consider to transfer those credits over. It could be an elective, it could be, if it meets the requirements, it could be a social work course, and we would be able to review and determine whether you are eligible for those transfer credits, and our limit is 6. So if you are eligible for those transfer credits, you may be able to reduce your MSW required credit hours from potentially from 60 to 40. No, not 40, 54. 60 minus 6 is 54. The other option, oh, and Kayla, you mentioned other life experiences. We do not consider credit for life experiences. It needs to be credit bearing coursework only at a graduate level university program. For students who took courses that covered the same content as we teach in our courses, and potentially don't want to repeat the coursework, we may be able to review and consider exemptions from courses in the MSW program. When that happens, you would not get credit hours reduced from the total number of credits that are required for graduation. It would open up elective credits for you. And it's a very helpful and important pathway that we would like our students to consider if they're potentially interested in. I already did some coursework that can be very similar, and by opening up some additional elective slots, I, as the MSW director, would be able to look at additional curricular options that are available on campus for you. So what this means is we have a student currently in our MSW program who had some prior coursework that they were able to use to get exempted from their MSW coursework. And the student used that with my guidance towards a certificate in aging that is offered through the public health program. So there are lots of curricular opportunities and options that we can explore to make sure that the time you spend here and the educational opportunities that you have access to really helps you to promote your career as a social worker in the field that you're most interested in working in. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Any other questions? Please feel free to speak up or put your question in the chat. Okay.
Dr. Ma, I had a question about currently being a student at the University of Kentucky, registered already for spring and
Yep.
advanced standing. And one of the responses back to me was that the internship, your practicum does not transfer
That is
back
correct.
to U of M Flint. So I would, I think what I'm understanding then is I have two classes right now, SW 722 and 724. One of them is the clinical assessment for social workers, and the other one is the psychology, let me see, psychopathology for social work practice. So would you recommend that continuing with those two classes and then transferring like you suggested in July to the University of Michigan and don't do the practicum at another school? So I wouldn't, in other words, I wouldn't start that.
Yep. That
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
I'm just,
but I think this warrants a conversation between you, me, and Kayla.
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So
Thank
yep,
you.
we'll talk more. Yep.
Thank you.
And I see a question in the chat. Vanessa said, oh, okay. Thank you, Kayla, for responding to that question. Kayla, would you be willing to speak a little bit about this question? What is the main difference between counseling and social work? So this is a great question. We've been getting this question from students.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a number of questions about the differences in an LPC license versus an LMSW license. So hopefully my answer will hit a number of these questions. An LPC or a master's degree in counseling with a license is absolutely a wonderful career track. Those folks are able to provide clinical mental health services and treatment to clients. A social worker who has a master's degree and a clinical license is also able to provide those same services. The main difference between the two degrees providing that service will be the theories that they pull from to understand and conceptualize client concerns and treatment options, and how they approach their work. But I have worked alongside counselors and professional counselors, marriage and family therapists in many of my clinical positions. The work is very similar. Now, that being said, a master's degree in social work allows you to be much more versatile than a master's degree in a counseling program. And no shade to those programs, they are excellent. And if you know that all you want to do is provide clinical counseling services, that may be a good option for you. However, if you're looking for a degree that will give you many options to provide mental health support to clients, to work with a variety of populations, to work in a large number of settings, and really allow you to have a very, very diverse and unique career path, that gives you exposure to many different areas of social work practice, an MSW is likely going to be the better degree for you. So hopefully that helps answer that question a bit. But to clarify, master's level social workers with a license to practice clinically in any state are able to provide therapy and bill for that therapy and provide psychotherapy and psychotherapeutic interventions to clients just the same as a licensed professional counselor would be able to do.
I hope that answered your question, Christina. Thank you, Kayla. Okay, any other questions? Yes, go ahead, Madeline. Can you unmute, please? Are you trying to ask a question? Please unmute and go ahead.
Can
Yeah.
you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, my name's Madeline. Thank you for this presentation. It's been very informative. I appreciate it. So thank you, everyone. I come from a social work background. My bachelor's degrees in social science. Excuse me. Too many S's. I apologize. And I'm wondering, and it may sound silly, can someone who has no background in social work be accepted into this program?
Can you ask your question again, Madeline? So can you be accepted into the program
With
without?
no background in social work.
Absolutely. That is what the regular standing MSW program is for. You don't
Okay.
have to have any knowledge of social work. However, we do ask you to review the NASW Code of Ethics in detail so that you understand what the profession is about. You don't need any experience, but
Okay.
it would be extremely helpful for you to understand the mission of the profession, the goals, and the values so that it aligns with your personal and professional goals.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Thank you, Dr. Ma.
You're very welcome. That's a great question. And just as a side note, I was an MSW student without any social work background. I had no idea what social work was. A year before I started my program, I was a regular standing program in my MSW program.
Okay. Wow. Thank
Thank you for that question.
you.
Great. And Jenny, I see your hand up.
Hi. So I'm a recent BSW graduate. So I will be going for the advanced standing.
Okay.
What I'm most worried about is the practicum part. Like how do you guys have any suggestions for like people who I work at a human service agency. I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So, what I'm trying to say is how would you suggest that somebody completes their practicum if they're, is there, I know that some schools will let you complete practicum at the same place that they work as long as it's in the field, that kind of stuff. So are there any small details like that about the practicum that we should know?
That's an excellent question, Jenny. Kayla?
I'll take this one. Wonderful question, Jenny. And we had somebody else ask a similar question around employment-based placements for practicum. So the short answer is that yes, we do allow in our program for students to explore and engage in employment-based placements for their practicum experience. That being said, not all employment agencies and organizations will qualify for this. They do need to go through the same vetting process that we would put any new agency or organization through to determine if they were an appropriate practicum site, because you do need to have all opportunities available to you as part of your requirements in practicum at that site. It's likely that if you're at a human services agency, that's more likely than not. I know somebody else asked a question about working in a prison system. It's possible. Until we have conversations with you and your supervisor in your agency, we can't guarantee anything. But I'm always happy to have conversations with folks and their supervisors at any point during your time in the program, so that we can start those conversations early and give you a better idea of what to expect. We really do try to accommodate students that are working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 as best as possible. And that's one of the ways that we try to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's like the main thing that I was super worried about. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's a great question, and many students ask us about that possibility. So great. I would like to be mindful of everyone's time. It's 7 o'clock, so it's time for us to wrap up. Please take a look at our website, and our contact information is also on this slide, UM-Flint, MSW at umich.edu. We would get back to you as soon as possible with the necessary information that you may need to make your important decisions. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to talking more about how this program may fit your career goals and educational goals. Thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.
Dr. Ma, did you record the names of the people that you said you could waive their application fee for attending this